Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So it's been a week since I streamed. Last Wednesday I was busy, so I couldn't. I was also quite sick. Started feeling sick last week and it got worse. And well, now I'm much better. I'm kind of like at the very end of my cold. Just phlegmy in the throat and all that. But anyway, so I've actually done a little bit of work on the emulator since last week. Let's see, where am I at right now? I don't even remember. What's the date? The 2nd of April. I guess it was till 26th. What did I do? Oh yeah, compatibility list. Add column to split out. Yeah, so what I did is I wanted to make my compatibility list a little bit more clear for me to be able to read. So what I did is I added this column here called alternate for like the alternate version of ROMs. So like armor attack here, and then I have like the spinner hack and spinner hack A1 and B1 here. And then I have Bedlam, and then I have the alternate versions of Bedlam, Berserk. And the reason why I did this is so that I could focus on getting the primary versions of these ROMs working. So, you know, if I look here at armor attack, we see that's great. Bedlam is great. Berserk is great. And in fact, pretty much all the commercial release ROMs that I think I also, let's see here. Did I do it here? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, I had at some point also split out the light pen 3D imager ROMs out of there so that I could focus a bit more. So these are like all the ones I want to get working first right here in this first table. And in fact, all of them are at what I would consider great emulation with Vectrexy. So here, Heads Up, Hyperchase, Mindstorm, these are all good. Mindstorm 2, but there's only one, and it's right here, Polar Rescue. So this is the one, we saw this I believe last Monday. Basically, as I wrote here, it's almost working, but somehow we get killed at the start. And I also wrote invalid read because we do get a bunch of invalid reads during gameplay, which may or may not be related. So yeah, that's something I'd love to look at tonight. Because, you know, if I get this ROM working, then pretty much all the primary versions of the commercially released ROMs that are not light pen or 3D imagers would be working. And as for 3D imager, what did I do here? I know that 3D Mindstorm works. It's obviously it's very difficult to test what 3D imager games should be looking like, but this one works. And I think 3D Narrow Escape, I think I'd even tried it and it might work. I don't know. I need to retest this. But let's say I care a little less about these ones. And the light pen, well, I will do light pen at some point. You know, like, and probably emulate the light pen with the mouse, you know, and touching with the click and all that stuff. We'll get to that at some point. But right now my focus is just getting all of these working here, and we're getting super close. So what's the deal with, where is it? Polar Rescue. So the deal with Polar Rescue is this. We still have it loaded up. Yeah, so I got Polar Rescue ready to go, so I can just show this to you. Just take off all my breakpoints. All right. So here you are. We're running the emulator. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So things look pretty good. Here we are. We're gonna get ready to get in, and then, oh, we die right away. See, that's not normal, okay? And see, we died right away. So I'm gonna just push pause here, and I'm gonna bring some attention to the things that oh, hold on. Looks like there might be a network error. Let me just make sure. No, okay, everything's working. Just my dashboard on Twitch was showing network error. I don't know if you guys who are watching, if you've missed anything of the stream, but let me know if there's any problems. Oh man, I can feel my cavities are all full, so I'm a little bit more nasal than usual. There's also another thing I kind of am playing a little bit with, and it's this Velocity X display here, which changes how italicized the text is over there. I'm gonna leave it at 6 here so we see it very clearly. So okay, so the thing to focus on is down here, this 0, 0, where my mouse is pointing. This 0, 0 is gonna go up really fast to 99, and then we're gonna die. And this here is damage. This is your damage counter. So as soon as we enter, look, it goes up. It just rises up super fast to 99, and then we're dead. And that is part of the problem. So just as a point of comparison, let's say we try with VIDE here. Okay, this is what I was trying earlier. So I'm going to move a couple of things aside here. Why are we in the disassembler? Close this. Okay. So here you see we're going in. It's a little bit, I don't know why it flickers, but we get in, and then you see the 0, 0 stays like that, and we can actually, I don't know why this happens sometimes with this emulator, but it flickers like mad. I don't know if I have to like, maybe I'll restart it. Hold on a sec. It's just because it's very unpleasant. Here we go. Let me just make sure my chat is working here. Yeah, okay, that looks like it's working. Alright, so let's press play again. Oh, and we got audio as well. It's still flickering. I don't know. Anyway, the point is though, we get in and we can start moving around. I can pause. I can advance. I can accelerate. I can shoot torpedoes. All that works. But in our version of the game, in my emulator, as we saw, let's take a look again. Hey, Lisp Gamer. Happy Easter to you. See, we get in, and boom, our damage rises up to 99. Now, how do I know this is damage? I didn't know that, but I did a little bit of research, and I found the online. I found online the manual for the game, and it explains how everything works. And then I found this here, and it shows like the HUD here, and over here damage points. You have like other stuff here, torpedoes remaining, oxygen indicator, and I was trying to understand, you know, what's going on when we play. Down here they have like an explanation of what happens in terms of how you play the game in terms of damage points. So when you're at 0 to 10, you have no damage. 10 to 19, you lose your upper left torpedo tube, and 20 to 29, you lose your upper right torpedo tube. 30 to 39, you lose your lower left torpedo tube. So a whole bunch of stuff. And if you go to 90 to 99, well, you lose your sub, which is what happens to us. And it says here, your crew repairs damage over time, so your damage points will get lower if you are able to stay alive. So something is making our damage points just go up. So it's really weird. Now, I wondered, so that was the first thing, right, that I looked into. And then the next thing I looked into was, do other emulators have this problem? So obviously VID does not. But I tried Vectrex, and actually Vectrex suffers exactly the same thing, which is really quite interesting. Here, I'll just repro it here. It's both interesting and unfortunate, because if it doesn't happen in Vectrex, I could use my CPU synchronization code I wrote to find where we differ in terms of CPU. But here you can see right away, same exact thing happened. I don't know if you saw that there, but the 99, if you pay attention to the score there, it's going to go up really fast. Boom. And then you die. So that happens there as well. So it sounds like a fairly common bug. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's actually a port of Vectrex that was done by this Razored here to JavaScript. And in this version, if we open up here, in this version he actually added overlay support and stuff, which is kind of nice. And here you can actually choose Polar Rescue. And if you pay attention, here it works. See, it does not go up to 99 and everything looks fine. We can shoot torpedoes and advance and go backwards and stuff. So this is the same emulator, but this bug doesn't exist. So I looked a little bit more at the changes in here, and one of the things as I noticed in the changelog is it actually says here, added Polar Rescue, now works thanks to fixes listed above. And above here it says, thanks to an awesome tip from Parabellum, author of the great Vectrex emulator ParaJVE, it appears that the Mindstorm bug is now resolved. And then it says, another fix thanks to Parabellum's notes, Bedlam is now working. So these two games were fixed. And then he says, Polar Rescue now works thanks to the fixes listed above. Now, he doesn't give much information on this page, but I found here this his forum where he has the same kind of notes with a little bit more information. Here he says, thanks to an awesome tip from Parabellum. Same thing, right? But here it says, you can check out his detailed blog entry regarding the bug here. And then he says the 0707, so the July 7th, 2006 entry. And then for the Bedlam one, it's the same link, but on July 14th. So that would be this page right here. And so I was reading this page, and it's kind of interesting because, we actually had a bug in Bedlam that we fixed. And I think our fix is not the same, and I think we may have found the right fix for Bedlam, but this might actually help us uncover what's going on. So there are two things. There's Bedlam, and then there's Mindstorm. So actually, let's start with Mindstorm here. So it says, finally located the bug in Mindstorm that drew garbage vectors for a few seconds when a fireball mine was shot before it became active. So fireball mine, so I believe there's one of the mines that when you fire at it, it turns into this kind of like sparkling fireball, and it goes I think it goes generally towards whatever direction. Its direction is wherever your ship is, and you just need to make sure you move out of the way, and it'll move in a straight line. And it says, it was in fact an error in the original code of Mindstorm, not in the emulator. In the mine's rendering code, drawing an inactive fireball mine that was destroyed ended up in rendering a list that was located in the cartridge ROM space, which is empty since Mindstorm is running. Mine's rendering code, drawing an inactive fireball mine that was destroyed, ended up in rendering a list that was located in the cartridge ROM space, which is empty. Since Mindstorm, I don't know what he means by which is empty, but anyway, it says once the bug was identified, the cure was extremely easy, initializing the cartridge ROM space with 01 so that every location in the space is an empty vector list. And then it says, here is the comment added to the remove cartridge method. So, why remove cartridge? So he says here, we fill with 01 to bypass a bug in Mindstorm, invalid reference to the ROM area. When a fireball mine is hit by a bullet while it is not yet moving. And he shows a location in the actual Mindstorm ROM where it could be fixed, the bug. Somewhere in this routine there should have been load A8, mark fireball as active. This sounds familiar actually. I think we may have dealt with this bug or something similar. Anyway, actually when a stationary fire mine is hit, the program ends up drawing a VL located at 3408 because it assumes that an object that's not moving is either a dumb fire magnet, magnet plus fire mine, whereas here it's a fireball. So to fix this, we just fill the ROM with 1 so that it becomes a big empty vector list. So I think what this means, because he mentions here, where is it? He mentions a specific address, 3408. And I suspect that is well past the Mindstorm. Ah, okay. I see. Okay, I said that's interesting. So basically when Mindstorm is running, it's running from ROM, and the cartridge space is effectively empty, right? Because there's no cartridge loaded. And so what he's saying here is that when it accesses when it accesses cartridge ROM space, it's, you know, returning whatever value. He needs to return 1 to signify the end. Now, I am curious. Maybe this is something that we could, like, we don't need to fill up the space in his way, but what we could try to do is what we do instead is when we get reads, we return 0. We just return 0. Like, the idea here is that the game may be doing invalid reads in cartridge ROM space, and when we do, we actually have this callback for an undefined behavior where I usually print out invalid cartridge read. We can, you know, we can decide what happens on undefined behavior, right? I have like ignore, log, or fail, and then I return 0. And I think what he's saying is if you return 1, that's like a magic value that's used by the BIOS to mean that the vector list has finished, which is kind of interesting. Let me just double check that that's actually true. We can do that if we look at the BIOS here. So I gotta look at like a function that draws vectors. Maybe draw VLC. Let's try this. The vector list is the following format. Count. So usually it starts with a count. So maybe we're talking about a vector list in a different format here. I have seen terminators in some of these. So like it sounds like 1 would be used as a terminal value, which is a bit strange to be honest, because 1 seems like a useful value. Maybe he meant 10? Just quickly looking through these, see if I see anything special. Oh, here. Okay, so it must be this. One of these ones. Okay, with a vector list, you have pattern, relative y, relative x, and then you end it with this special one. So that's interesting. So if let's start with not ignoring here. So just to see if we're getting, I think we are getting quite a lot of cartridge reads when we play this game. And I just want to show that. So Lisp Gamer, how did you spend your Easter? Hey Goofy. Thanks, man. Thanks for remarking the keyboard. That's pretty cool, actually. I rather like this keyboard. So see, when we start playing, you're gonna see that there's gonna be a crazy amount of output here. There we go. Just like a ton, right? as soon as we enter the tunnel and then things go bad, we just get all these invalid cartridge reads at 2000. And these invalid cartridge reads will end up returning 0. So it'll be very interesting to see. Did the roast dinner yesterday and today was pick up for the week? What about you? Yeah, I just spent the weekend seeing family. It was nice, but a little tiring. So let's say instead of doing this, we do return 1. Right? Let's just see what happens. Goofy, were you just browsing through Twitch and you saw a screenshot with this keyboard? Is that what brought you here? Holy crap, that actually works. Oh, you came from DevStream? That's cool. Hey, so this actually fixed it. So it looks like this, it would be a bug in the ROM itself. Oh, that's really interesting. Let's say we put ignore here and not to get the slowdown from all the printing. Yeah, so this keyboard is actually a mechanical keyboard. It's a Matias Ergo Pro. And I got it because I was looking for a mechanical split standard layout keyboard. So this was one of the ones I was able to find. There are not that many actually. They're starting to come out more now, but at the time when I bought it, there wasn't really much. Hey, look at that. Whoa, mines. So apparently this game, you're in a submarine. And see, those are mines. You have to avoid the mines. And you see there's like this kind of like triangle here. And you're supposed to go where the triangles are, because that's where you can rescue. Oh, I think I got hit a mine. So you've got an ErgoDocs. Yeah, so ErgoDocs is really nice, but it's not standard layout, right? You've got like all those special keys for your thumb. So when I mean standard layout, I really mean like standard, right? Like, you know, not necessarily good for my you know, pinky, but it is what I'm really used to right now. And I suppose if I put in the time, I could learn to type on a special keyboard like that. But I'm pretty happy with this. Wow, I really can't go through those mines. Hey, so this is crazy, guys. This totally worked. See, when I was reading this earlier, I was focusing instead on the next fix, which was the Bedlam one, and it had to do with CWAI, and we actually faced the same problem, but I think we figured out the fix more correctly. Here he talks about how he had to fix it by doing some special handling for in the CWAI code, but in fact, you know, and if I can get in touch with this guy, maybe I'll let him know, but the fix is not on the CWAI instruction, but rather on the RTI instruction. And it had to do with the way you order. Was it on the RTI? No, sorry, it was on the handling IRQ. Yeah, the thumb cluster. Anyway, I'm not going to focus on this here. Yeah, the ErgoDocs they're beautiful keyboards. Like, you know, if I was so inclined to learn, you know, I would totally go for something like this. I love the form factor, how small it is, how programmable it is. You know, everything about this keyboard is super cool. So I totally understand. But like I said, you know, I wanted mechanical, which this is, and I wanted split, which this is, but I wanted standard layout, which this is not. So, but there are more of these coming out, these kind of similar to my keyboard. In fact, I think I showed it a few streams ago. Kinesis has one, and I forget what it's called. Like, yeah, it's Kinesis gaming keyboard here. It's the, is it this one here? Freestyle Edge split. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one. So Kinesis has made one. That's standard layout and mechanical and split. But this one's a lot more expensive than mine. But yeah, it's got a lot of similarities. And Kinesis is well known for making, you know, excellent ergonomic keyboards. So if I could get my hands on one just to try it out, I totally would. But yeah, so in the end, it turns out the fix for this is the one for Mindstorm. And I guess this will fix my Mindstorm bug as well. I've seen this this problem he's talking about, so this just should fix it as well. It's very cool. Alright, so let's put a nice comment, because returning 1 is just weird. Oh, I'll put here. Okay, some ROMs erroneously access cartridge. So you know what this means, right? This means that, like, these ROMs, these real cartridges, like the original Mindstorm that's built into the BIOS and Polar Rescue, they have bugs in them, and the fact that when they access cartridge space, they're probably getting back whatever value was last written on the bus. Because that's my guess as to what probably happens. You know, if you try to read from an invalid address, you know, if it's not mapped, what do you get back? I'm guessing it's whatever was left on the bus. I don't know. Some kind of garbage value that's non-zero is what would make it work, you know, somewhat correctly. But I wouldn't be surprised if Polar Rescue is one of those every once in a while you don't know why, but you start playing and you know you get damaged for some reason that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. When trying to draw vector lists, those are called, right? Polar Rescue. So by returning and I say 1, I don't know if the BIOS actually looks explicitly for 1 in here. I guess it must. It's very difficult to understand how this must work on the real hardware, unless it's just checking the low bit. I don't know. Anyway, by returning, we help to fix these bugs. Real hardware unlikely returns 0 when accessing anyway, so this may be more correct. Anyway, whatever the case may be, I'll take it if it makes the game work. Let's see here. Invalid cartridge, read now returns 1 instead of 0 to help hide fix bugs in games like Mindstorm and Polar Rescue. Okay, so this is cool because now we can come up in here, no, other one here, and we can say great. So that's fun. So basically all the ROMs, at least all the main ones here are working. These alternate versions, some of them don't work. But the thing with the alternate ROMs, I don't really understand what the nomenclature is for like A1, B1. What do these actually mean, and who made these revisions, right? Like, are these, what's O1 over here, you know? Are these actually, you know, from, are these commercial versions, or are these like hacked versions from you know, regular people just messing around with these ROMs? I don't know. There's like H1 here. Sometimes there's two, B1, O1. If anyone has any idea what these might mean, let me know, you know? All right. Now I did Dark Tower here. These are commercial unreleased ROMs. Yeah, I didn't spend too much time on this here. It's tough, you know, like knowing whether you should spend time on these alternate versions without understanding whether they make any difference. Just the very fact that it says like spinner hack here. You know, this means somebody else messed around with this, right? What I would really need to do is, for each one of these, I would have to figure out, are they supported by other emulators? Because I know I spent some time, like, I think it was this one here, Armor Attack B1. I had spent some time trying to figure out what was going on, and then I tried running it on VIDE and it didn't work there. And if it's not working in VIDE, like this one here or this one here, then, like, you know, I don't think it's worth spending any time. And these are B1 versions. So then I think, you know, these B versions, are these like homebrew hacks? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But you know what? Let me just, I wanted to check if anim action at least starts. I don't know if the light pen ones need some kind of special input to get started. Anim action, let's try that one. Funky stuff going on there. We see a dot, and then it goes away, and then lines appear. Yeah, no idea. So that one remains weird. Art Master. Yeah, I think all of these light pen ones, we're gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to look into it a bit more. Now 3D Mindstorm we know works. 3D Narrow Escape, I feel like I tried this one. Let me give that a whirl. So 3D Narrow Escape. For this one, I'm probably gonna have to attach myself and turn on the emulated the hack I have to like emulate the 3D imager. So at this point here, it's waiting for interrupts. So let me attach. work. Vectrexy. STL engine. Here's my hack simulate 3D imager. Turn that on. Okay, here we are. Well, we saw it for a couple seconds. But chances are I'm not getting this at the right rate. This is really a hack. It's not the right way to do the 3D imager, so I'm not surprised that it's not working properly. Now what about here? Dark Tower. I think Dark Tower is working like the way it's expected to work. Here, let's try it. Inventory is here. Your score is 0. Player inventory. 5 reserve troops. 2 bags of gold. Fire left arrow. Fire or key. And the 4th button is fire right arrow, test, and open. So let's try opening it. Yeah, I do get this here, which is expecting DDR for A to be either all zeros or all ones. But if I continue, after a while, this seems to just fix itself. Ugh. Replacement warrior. So let's try and go back in. Okay, let's keep going. Be gone. Strange. It's like I think this is how the game is supposed to work. I don't know. And then Tour de France. This one seemed like it worked fine. Ah, actually this is working better than the last time I tried it. So you can pause. And then you can kind of hit. Whoops. I'm in 11th place apparently. And I think there's a meter that goes down. I don't know if that's like a time left, or like a lap time or something. Pretty cool though. Whoa. but really, really hard. Probably I should be playing with the analog stick though. I don't know. Okay. Oh, I think that line was my stamina. Now I'm like super slow. In last place. Alright, whatever. Alright, so let's see what else we could work on. Oh yeah, I did fix something else. I'm looking over here about overlays. Use name inside ROM for substring match. So the overlay code I wrote for like matching names and stuff is really annoying because I mean it's not my fault there. It's just that there's just no standardized way to name things, and some of these names, like the game Spinball has no space between the spin and the ball, but the overlay has a space. And so because of that, I can't detect the overlay for that. And I couldn't come up with any, like, I can't come up with a way to find it, you know? If I were to correctly rename this to Spinball, suddenly Spinball has an overlay, right? So this is one that's kind of still a pain in my ass because unless I do my own renaming or put in like a special case. But see, it's cool, right? When it's actually there. I've played this game a few times on stream, and we did not have this overlay because I didn't even know it existed. This is weird. This like little shift there. That does not look right. I wonder if. Oh, look at that. Oh, very interesting. It's using the same shift value that is used for the font rendering. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this at 6. Velocity X delay. Let me go fix that. Velocity X. I think that's in the screen. Let's put this back to 6. Another thing too I noticed is that unfortunately a lot of these overlays are kind of crappy quality. Like this one here, you know, look at these artifacts right around the Spinball, and it's like really low res. The player 1 and the player 2 and ball and all that don't look so good, and it's really unfortunate. Like it would be nice if somebody would rescan these using like a high resolution scanner or something. This is a Spinball. Just let's compare it to what it's supposed to look like. So this, yeah, this is. Yeah, I guess there's alpha in the where the lettering is at. But if I look at the real thing, no, this is another emulator. Anybody playing this with an actual? Yeah, I mean, we're not getting a very good view here, but clearly it would look much better if we had some better scans of these. Anyway, what are you gonna do? I'd have to, I guess, do it myself, but I don't have these overlays, but I could maybe clean these ones up. I don't know. I find it so cool, the collision detection on this game. It's pretty awesome. All right, spin ball. So add image pause overlays. To be honest, what I should be looking at next, there's two things that I want to work on. So there's audio. Yeah, there's audio, and I want to redo the rendering. The rendering is pretty good, right? Like it looks pretty nice, but here's the problem with it. So I don't know if I'll show it by taking off the blur. So all these lines that we see here, maybe I can like take a screenshot. So let's grab this Vectrex logo here. We'll open it up. Sorry, what was written there? Vulkan? No, I'm gonna keep it in OpenGL, but what I was gonna say is the problem with the way I'm doing this. Oh, I can't zoom in properly. There we go. So you see here, these are really literally 1 pixel wide. Like if I were to draw in white here. So the lines are being drawn exactly 1 pixel wide, and this is regardless of resolution, regardless of the display, and that's totally wrong. I mean, this affects everything, right? It's not resolution independent. When I play this emulator on my laptop, where I have a much higher resolution, it doesn't look the same. And not only does it not look the same, but like, you know, the lines are thinner. I can't even see the stars practically in Mindstorm. But things like the blurring effect that I have here, well, this blur is based on the lines that are underneath, and so the blur looks totally wrong at higher resolutions. So all that to say is it's not resolution independent. And what I need to do is I need to redo this so that what I want to do is come up with some kind of, let's say, logical resolution. So the Vectrex runs at a logical resolution of 256 by 256. And what I want to do is I want to take that and based on this size that I already do this, I already compute this resolution here that I want to render to. I want to take then all my lines, scale it by the transformation from 256 by 256 to whatever is this scale here. And then after that, figure out, when I know that now, when I've transformed all my lines into that space, I want to do like a kind of line drawing, but a custom line drawing with a specific width. It's something I kind of touched on. I have this thick lines base thing here where I kind of play with the thickness, and you can see like if I make it really thick, yeah, like I already kind of have this concept of drawing lines as thick lines, and the way I do that is I basically just draw quads. And I'd like to take that a little bit further than what I do. I want to draw quads. I want to have them be a certain size based on the resolution, so I'd scale those up. And instead of being pure quads, which they look okay, but they don't look quite right at the corners and stuff. Like you can, what I mean by that is like, let's say if we go to full thickness here, and it is a good game to actually see an example of this. Let's say we take this radar and we say open in paint.net. This is the kind of thing that happens. You see how it's very, very flat around here, these corners here. And that's what happens basically when you draw these, or anyway, all of these here. Like these kind of hard edges. You can see that they are clearly quads and not really lines. So what I was thinking of doing is drawing these quads in 3 parts. Drawing a part that would, let's say, be this here, then drawing the middle part, and then drawing this end. So drawing each end differently, and using a texture that effectively like rounds out the ends. So I was thinking that would make the lines look more like lines, you know? So, or at least look like, you know, yeah, kind of like, I don't know if I can do it, but it would kind of round this out here. So all this would be gone. Let's see if I can. I would want it. Pencil. Maybe something like that, or something like this. I don't know. But that's kind of secondary. I would just start with just the very basic, use my quad rendering, do the logical resolution thing, and then after that, it would always look the same no matter how I resize. Even now, like if I take this and resize it, we would see a difference. Let me restart this. I don't know how obvious it's going to be over stream there. You'd have to have a pretty high quality stream to see this, like high quality connection, but the way this looks here is different from the way it looks like this, and if I make it really small, we start to really see, like, what we notice is the artifacting from the blurring here is not being done in a way that is independent of the resolution. So let me restart this, pause. So you can see here all this blurring here, that's some huge blur, right? And this amount of blurring doesn't make any sense at this resolution. It doesn't match up with the amount of blurring we see when I, let's say, bring it up this size here. Let's try and get this somewhat comparable. So somewhere like that. Like here we can just see that where Vectrex is written, there's a much wider amount of blur than over here. And that's just incorrect. And so this means that if you were to grab my emulator and run it, it wouldn't look necessarily as nice or correct. So that's something I need to fix. If you're going to do all that, do you also want to render to a larger back buffer and downsample? Yeah, so I thought about that. But the truth is, you know, how large is large, right? Like, I'd have to, you mean like make it larger than whatever resolution you'd have, right? But in truth, like, because it's just lines, yeah, maybe. I know what you mean for anti-aliasing. I did think about using OpenGL's downsampling, you know, with interpolation to see what it would look like, but I'm afraid of the blur effect. I'm afraid it would look too much like blurring. And I think that if I just draw crisp lines at a specific resolution, it should be okay. But yeah, maybe I'll look at anti-aliasing. I could do that afterwards though. But I'm like not so concerned with the aliasing. I think just the blurring, once I have like, you know, proper resolution independent, then I can control the blur until it looks just right. And the blur will kind of hide a lot of the artifacts anyway. You know what I mean? But you're right, like maybe once I have thicker lines, because right now I have really thin 1 pixel lines, so I don't really see any kind of aliasing. But maybe once I have thicker lines, all of a sudden it'll start to really show. Kind of like what we saw here, right? And I think that's where you're saying, yeah, you know, like anti-aliasing may help in situations like this. And I think you're probably right. But again, you know, here I don't have any of the blur on. So with a bit of blurring on there, it might look fine. Like I think I can sort of reproduce what I'm saying. If we go here, so I have blurring on, and if I make really thick lines and then just make them super thick, and maybe play a little bit with the blur. I might be able to hide it. No, I'm not fill rate limited, that's true. Yes, entirely true. So anyway, so that's one thing I really like to work on. I just want to kind of plan for it, and maybe I'll start doing that this week. You know, it's that or audio. And as for audio, well, I haven't really looked too much into it. I don't suspect it'll be that difficult. I just need to find information. Apparently, I told it to update paint.net. Yeah, I just need to find some more information on how the audio stuff works, but I did do audio emulation on my NES emulator, so I'll probably be grabbing some of that code for having a circular buffer and feeding it to the direct audio, direct sound API. Or I think I used the one from SDL, so should be pretty easy. And I say should be pretty easy. I don't really know, but it can't be any harder than the one for the NES. So, mind you, when I emulated audio for the NES, I'd say I spent as much time emulating audio as I did writing the rest of the emulator. It was, I found it to be quite tricky. First of all, because it was my first time dealing with that kind of digital audio, and secondly, getting it to be just right was really hard. Like, it's so dependent on everything being cycle accurate, being so perfect to produce the right sound. So I would have like this, you know, I'd be recording waveforms, like wave files of the audio that was playing out of games for which I knew the audio really well, and I could hear, you know, certain channels weren't quite right, and I'd have to keep reading it over and over the documentation and tweaking the you know, and fixing and correcting the way the each audio chip, or basically each channel, how they would work. There was like square waves and triangle waves and a noise channel. Just trying to get those all right was really quite challenging. But I don't think I'm gonna have the same situation for the Vectrex. I could be wrong, but we'll see. I may also be able to get away with it not sounding as perfect for the Vectrex, so we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what I should do right now. Looking at the time, I want to stop at 11, so maybe let me find something small I can work on. I'll look at my to-do list. There's this one thing that I've wanted to do for such a long time. Did I write it down here? Anyway, it's basically in my debugger. It's this here. Load and execute a startup script. That's one I really wanted to do. So let me see if I can bang that out. I don't even know how I'm gonna do it, but going to be somewhere in here. So yeah, that's right. I'm using standard CN here. Can I add stuff into the into CN easily? I need to basically programmatically, like what I want to do is I want to do something like this is what I'm envisioning. So here we are in the root level of Vectrexy here, right? And let's say I create a file called I don't know, startup.txt or something. And we go to startup here. Like I want to be able to add some commands here. So let's say we just start with help. So I want to read in this file, read in all the lines that have commands in there, and just kind of send them into CN so that my debugger automatically starts executing them. So that's sort of the goal. So let's say I go to initialize. Not here. So we'll do like let's say we got in a file, and now I want to go through each one of those lines and I want to feed them into CN. I don't know, can I do that? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll do this instead. Saying instead of screwing around with CN, which is what I would want to do here, you can have your program accept a general std iStream ref, and then when running normally, just pass it in CN, and during unit test, pass it an iStream of your own. Maybe I could do something like that. Let me see here. Maybe we'll do something like this. I want to do it this way. Maybe I want to go a little bit less deep than that. Let me see. I don't know. Well, let me try this way. Okay, so let's see how this goes. So we have a way to call frame update impl. We go to our, and we pass it in a stream. By default, we pass it in std_cin. And now the idea is to do a couple of these frame update impls. Which yeah, I guess I have no choice. Yeah, okay, let's see how this goes. The only other way I can see this, rather than hacking in a bunch of inputs, would be for the frame update impl to have its own little loop in here. Let me see, would that make more sense? Oh yeah, maybe I'll do that instead. You know what? Let me undo all this. I have another idea. Much better idea, actually. Let's go here. I have a last command. Let's say we had a vector of string, and we'll call this like, I don't know, pending commands or something. And then what we'll do is in the frame update, we're told to break into the debugger. Before we check if not stream, what's this not stream? Yeah, before we do this, we have input command. I'll say if we have commands that are pending, and what's the deal with the stream here? Is there a reason why? Oh, if no tokens. Oh yeah, why do I have this here? Okay, put that like that. Else. So if we have pending commands, that'll take priority, and we'll just pop off a command from the front. Yeah, that's way simpler. So I say, oh, can I do pop front? What is this music? So the music on my stream, if you look in the top right corner there, that's the whatever is the title that's playing. It comes from OC Remix. Oh, the one before. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, but it's all from Overclocked Remix. And what it is that it's actually a stream that basically streams from this huge selection of remixed video game music. So it's actually, let me see here. Yeah, it's like OC Remix Radio. Yeah, it's this here. So yeah, if you guys are looking for some good remixes of video games, this is the place to go. So I wasn't paying attention to what played before. I could like look at the video stream of the stream here. We could figure it out, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, totally check that out. It's really cool. Like here's a nice remix of Zelda. Alright, so I would love to be able to pop front here. Vector's not letting me do it, so you know what? Let's use a list. It's not something I do very often. Or maybe a queue. Man, I don't think I've used queue in like a super long time. I don't even remember how to use it. But I guess like that. Can I pop front? Or Q actually, that's it. You push to the back and you pop from the front. So that's perfect. So we'll pop from there. Can I do this? Oh no, okay. So it's like front and then we pop. So if we have that, we do this, we pop, and then we'll execute. Alright, so then this means we should be able at this point to just add stuff to the queue in our initialize function. yeah, that's not right. So this will be standard if stream. Okay, so let's try debugging this. And if we see this, we also want to make sure we break into debugger. Okay. I might have to actually print out the commands we're executing. Alright, so here we go. We have our file. Let's see if we're getting our command. We have help here. We add it to our pending. And we set break into debugger. So we end up stopping into here. We have commands, so we pop off help. And that becomes our input command, so we tokenize it. And then we should go into help here. And we should print the help. Oh, you guys are not seeing that. So there's our output. Cool. So it's starting to work. Let's do a little bit of extra information in here. We add some pending things. We want to break. We come in here. Let's say auto executing. This. Okay, and let's add a couple more commands. So we've got help. Let's put say print value at FFFE. And put a breakpoint on, you know, I don't know, 1 FAB. Let me bring this here. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so yeah, there's some stuff I print out at the beginning, which is adding a bit to the confusion. Oh yeah, didn't put a new line in there. Okay, so here we are, auto executing help. We got the help. Auto executing. Maybe I don't need the auto executing because actually we see it here. Yeah, I really don't need that. And then break, so we're setting a breakpoint. So that's pretty good. So this is nice. I'll take off the auto executing bit and I'll just print the command itself. I need to print it because since we're not entering it, we want to be able to see what it is, right? So we'll just do this. And the other thing that I would really like though is I need to respect the fact that when we start, I have this this bool, right, that controls whether that we break into the debugger or not. And you know, technically I don't want to always break into the debugger just because I have this startup script. See, it depends on what the initial value was. So it was set to false here, which means we just want to go start the game right away. But now I'm setting that I'm saying we need to break into the debugger because otherwise we won't execute that, which is kind of crap. And this has to do with the assumption that we'd only want to enter commands should we break into the debugger. So maybe what I should do instead of that is just say either we need to break into the debugger or we have pending commands to run. Maybe that makes more sense. Or I should just say, you know what, instead of empty, let's do that. Let's do if not empty. I prefer that. And in that case, I don't need to mess around with this here. So now I should just start. And if I break, see, so it doesn't show it until I break because of the way it buffers output, and that's fine. But here we see when we break, we got our help, we got our. Maybe it would be nice to flush these. Yeah, let's force flush for the startup ones. I mean, it's a bit sad to have to add all this extra code for the pending commands. But you know, I'm not totally opposed to it. We might actually find that there may be a way like where we want to enter a command and then that command executes other commands like macros, and we do that by just appending stuff to this pending commands. So it may actually be reusable for other stuff. So I'm not completely opposed to having this concept here. So what was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I want to flush out. Do I never call this? Or you know what I'll do? If I use error F, then that will flush for sure. No, I should use printf, and then just flush the output stream. Yeah, let's do that. So that ought to do it. Let's see. There we go. And I'll just break here. But you can see like we started the whole thing and we got the execution here of these commands. Beautiful. This is perfect. And in fact, the thing I really want to put in my startup script, obviously it's not, I don't want to run help and all that. The thing I'm always looking to run in here is a load symbols of the BIOS ROM. Of the BIOS symbols here. Copy path like this. And if we come back, now I should actually do that. Load symbols. And see, now we have symbols loaded, and I don't have to re-enter that anymore. But what's really cool is, like, let's say we're debugging a problem and we know we want to have a breakpoint set every single time we run. We could just add it to the startup script, and it'll just remember to do that every time we launch, which is really great. All right, Lisp Gamer, take it easy, man. See you on Wednesday. I'm wondering if I want to output the very fact that we found a startup script and that we'll be executing any commands from it. The other thing too is, what if I have empty lines in there? Will that make any difference? Yeah. I probably don't want to do that, because that just does steps and then it repeats. So let's handle that case, and we'll ignore empty lines. Okay, so that worked. You can see that it executes at F000. That's the very first place that we point to when we start. And if I reset, yeah, so reset doesn't actually rerun any of those, and I think that's fine. I don't know if we want the startup script to re-execute when we reset. I don't think so. Although, maybe. Oh no, okay. We want to keep our breakpoints when resetting a game. Yeah, I was thinking about what happens if we reset our breakpoints, but we don't, so that should be okay. So any breakpoints we set in there, unless we disable them explicitly, I think this should be okay. I'll say commands for debugger to execute on startup. There we go. Man, I should have done this like 6 months ago. I could have totally used this. I'm gonna add startup to my git ignore as well. add trace as well. I often see traces in here. That's gone. Okay. Let's get this committed now. I'll commit some of these first. Screen, I'll say revert velocity x delay back to 6 cycles to make font look straight. Yeah, the 6809 is a very cool chip. I didn't know this, but it looks like it was used in the Apple II. But yeah, it was used in quite a few systems that were pretty powerful. And definitely more powerful than the 6502. And it was like a precursor to the 68000 from Motorola, which is also a pretty good chip. Apple III? Oh, and Apple II was 6502. Yeah, no, that's it, yeah. Maybe it was the Lisa? Could it be? I know I know this because I was watching that Steve Jobs movie, but the good one. And they mentioned the 6809 in it. I'll say here. What was it again that I had noticed? Oh yeah, Spinball, spring coil also was crooked with this value at 7. Ah, okay, BBC Micro. Yeah, so I'm in Canada, so we didn't really have the BBC Micro here, but I've definitely heard a lot about that system. That basically the British government, I think they commissioned the BBC Micro to be built for teaching in schools, was it? Oh, hey, thanks for the follow, RV Santos. Appreciate it. But yeah, I heard a lot of good things about the BBC Micro. A lot of people from the UK seem to have fond memories of that machine. I find it really cool that the UK, the government in the UK actually wanted to do that. And I mean, so long ago, right? We're talking early 80s, was it? Mid 80s? You know, now we see a lot of government programs pushing computer literacy here and like in the US, but you know, it wasn't as strong back in the 80s, right? 1982, it's crazy. Which, by the way, is also the year the Vectrex came out. You know, I'll do that as a separate one. All right, so here I'll say debugger. Add support for a startup.txt script with commands to execute at launch or at startup. There we go. I mean, my grade school, we had So I'm an 80s kid as well. Like I was born 79. So when I was in school, around, let's say, I remember 1980, let's say 87, 88, our primary school, which was just a regular public school, they had a computer lab, which was, you know, pretty advanced for the time, and it was we had a bunch of IBM. I forget what they were, but they were real like IBM machines, you know, with the 5 1/4 inch floppies and what else? I remember learning Logo Writer. Logo Writer was, you know, it was one of the logo implementations. So with the turtle and the lines and all that. And I remember being in like grade 4, grade 5, doing a lot of logo and really loving it. And when I think back, I would say that was my first foray into programming, even though I never thought of it as programming. But that's what we had here, or at least that's what I had. Yeah, that's true. But you know, if you're looking to excite kids about programming, I highly recommend Scratch, MIT's Scratch. There's been quite a bit of written about it, but it's a really, really cool program. So it's this thing here. And it uses Blockly, which is the, I think it's from Google, right? These are all games and animations and stuff that were made with it. Okay, maybe I'll stop the music for a sec. Yeah, Scratch is really cool. My kids play with it. I got some books like this, Coding with Scratch workbook, and I have another one. I don't have it here, but it teaches, like, it's got projects, like game projects. Yeah, so you're right, partially. I believe they started off with their own thing in Flash, and then I think they moved to Blockly and like replaced their original implementation. Let's see, Scratch. Let me just double check. I think I remember reading that they went to Blockly. Google and MIT Media Lab's Scratch team are collaborating on the development of a new generation of graphical programming called Scratch Blocks. Scratch Blocks build on Google's Blockly technology and the Scratch team's expertise in designing creative interfaces. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't go too deep into that, but whatever the case may be, definitely I think this is good. Like I tried the Logo Writer thing, but yeah, it's a different time, you know, drawing lines with a turtle. Although you can do that in Scratch. You could totally draw lines. I don't know if you saw that, but I think that's kind of an homage or like a nod to Logo. But in Scratch, with the cat, you have these commands, these blocks, like for pen down. You know, of course, you can rotate and you can move forward, and you can effectively draw all kinds of lines and stuff, and you know, do the same kind of thing with the blocks. So I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you're, I find it's like the best of both worlds. You know, it's graphical enough, and you can show your kids, or anyone really. It doesn't have to be a kid. I say kids, but honestly, like anyone who's looking to learn programming, I think Scratch is a great way to get started. And then yeah, you can do the line drawing. The line drawing stuff is really interesting because you can do really nice patterns, and you know, you can learn a lot about like loops and stuff with it. So I think that's pretty cool. I remember being completely obsessed with Logo Writer, or with Logo, when I was in grade 5. So that would be around when I was 10 years old. When I would ask my teacher, instead of going out for at lunchtime, I would say, could I stay in the computer lab? And we had this like box filled with these logo cards that had these example programs. And my goal was to just kind of get through that box. And so as many times as I could go per week, or anytime I had like a free block, if I finished an assignment early or something and I could go, I try to get through these cards. And then I actually finished the box. And during our computer lab time, I remember working on this. One of the first things I worked on was kind of like a cityscape. So I drew like a whole bunch of apartment blocks with windows, a street, and then I was also drawing these cars and people, because they had these icons that you can, in this specific version of Logo, you had like a bank of sprites or tiles or whatever. So there were like people and cars and cats and stuff, and so I would have them positioned and moving across the screen. And this is just this huge long program with a couple of loops here and there that I would save on a disk. And then eventually I paired up with one of my friends who was into music, and we actually tried to make a game. So we got not super far, but you could move your guy into a home and talk to people and choose a door you wanted to walk in and stuff. It was pretty cool. So yeah, that's when I knew. That's when I fell in love with computers. We didn't actually have one at home at the time, but after that, my family saw I was really into it, and they tried to get one, and we got this Apple II clone, and I just ended up playing games on it because that's all we had. But yeah, eventually I got myself I think it was a 386, and just kept working from there. A lot more advanced than the Logo we had, although it was limited by using a physical turtle. Oh, so you got the real physical turtle with the actual pen underneath. See, we didn't have that. We just had the program. Put some music back on now. Yeah, I always wished we had the physical turtle, actually. I would have loved to have seen my program get plotted out on paper. That must have been very cool. Okay, so I can finally move this into the done section. I do have Italian roots. I guess you're asking based on my name or based on my accent. I don't know which one it is. Maybe both. Load and execute a startup script. I mean, I'm Canadian. I'm born in Canada, but my dad's born in Italy. No accent. I have a very light accent. Depends on if you really pay. There's certain words I might pronounce with a little bit of. I mean, we all have accents, right? But there are certain things you might catch. But the name is Italian. Are you Portuguese? From Portugal? Or like from Brazil? I guess if you're from Brazil, you wouldn't say you're Portuguese though. So he must be from Portugal. Yeah, this one's already fixed a long time ago. Yeah, Portugal. That's cool. It's awesome to think I have viewers from all over the place, Portugal included. That's really cool. One thing I noticed before when I was playing, where is it? Polar Rescue. I noticed in the other emulator there was a brightness shift that I don't think I noticed in mine. Let me just see here. Yeah, here my brightness is completely constant. Whereas, was it? I know Vectrex seemed to show, and I'll see if this one does. Yeah, you see how you hear the 0, 0? This is terrible. I don't know what's going on. This is an awesome emulator, but I'm having some, maybe it's stream issues, maybe it's my CPU usage. It is quite high when I use this thing. Can keep an eye on the CPU usage here. I see it's using about 20% CPU, this Java here. Yeah, it's pretty high. I don't know. But at least with Vectrex is really obvious, or maybe the flickering is related actually to the brightness issue. I don't know. But when I try with Vectrex, what I noticed, here we'll see it more clearly, that the score seems to fade in and the damage values seem to fade in. You see how they just kind of fade in? You see now they're faded out, now they fade in, and you get damaged, and then they fade out. Right now they're fading out. And I imagine that that's normal. I would love to see this one here play it properly. What is going on here? Did I like mess something up in here? Whoa. Oh, that's kind of cool. Performance. No. Okay, so it's like some kind of theme thing. That's kind of cute. Okay, well I don't know why it's not running anymore. Let me just try a different ROM just out of curiosity. Like if we try, let's see, like rip off or something. Okay, so this one's fine. But there is something weird, and in mine, we don't get any of that fade in, and I'm pretty sure I did the brightness thing. Let me see. Here, see, I set brightness here. Do I actually collect oh, maybe I'm not collecting the brightness values. I don't remember anymore. Let me see, it's been a long time. That's definitely something we should do if I haven't done it yet. Here, brightness here. And yeah, that's it. I don't have brightness in here, do I? Oh look, brightness 1. Yeah, that's right. Why didn't I do the brightness thing? I thought I had done it once. I have all the support for brightness and I'm not passing it through. Would this be as simple as just setting it here? I'm sure I have a branch where I tried this and then for some reason, okay, and it's a float value. Brightness 1.f. And here, so I'm gonna need to divide it. If it's greater than 0 and less than 128, divide it by 128.0, so we'll normalize it from 0 to 1. Because I think that's what I expect. Let me see. Line.brightness, and if I go check, actually, do my shaders even care about it? Are you going to have to support the colored overlay? So I do support the colored overlays. I'm curious about your parenthesis there. The amazing technology shared with Etch-a-Sketch. I mean, I love the Etch-a-Sketch, and I'm actually a bit of an Etch-a-Sketch buff, if you will. But what do you mean by overlays for Etch-a-Sketch? I do support overlays though for in the emulator. I'll show you, like, you know, just here, right? Rip off. There's an overlay. Is that what you're referring to? Oh, CPU is tanking here. Alright. Etch-a-Sketch had those colored plastic overlays to turn the surface into Etch-a-Sketch into different games? Are you sure? Are you sure you mean the Etch-a-Sketch? For me, Etch-a-Sketch is this thing, right? The Milton Bradley toy where you had the 2 knobs. This thing here. Okay, so let me just check my shaders. Wow. I've never seen this. Oh man, I totally would have loved this as a kid. This is super cool. So you actually had these? Because I would have loved to have had this. I had no idea this existed. That's really cool. I'm gonna try and get some. $6.99. I'm gonna totally look into this. Thanks for sharing that. I just learned something. Alright, shaders. I try to remember if I actually did the brightness thing. Let me see. Draw, screen, draw. Where did I put it? I guess it would be in draw screen. No, it would be in draw vectors. Fragment shader. For now, just white. Vertex brightness. So I'm passing in a vertex brightness here. So is this making it all the way through? Vertex brightness in. Location 1, that's for draw vectors. Yeah, I'm passing in. So this ostensibly would work. I have to kill this. But just to clarify, Isvara, when you were asking about overlay support, you didn't mean this, right? The overlay you see here? Oh, there we go. Brightness is working. Let's see that again. Cool. I like it because it gives you that feeling you're being submerged. Oh yeah, you've never seen a Vectrex in real life? Yeah, it kind of looks like this. See if I can kill this. Oh, he got me. So really, I had all the scaffolding in place for the brightness, and for some reason, I totally just didn't glue it together. I have this memory of having implemented all that stuff, and I don't know why I didn't just hook it up. There was a reason. I think when I was implementing brightness, it was for some other reason. Alright. Destroyed that ship. Now I have 13 torpedoes. Whoops, now I have 12. Whoa, what's this? Battle mode. And looks like I died. This game is weird. You're supposed to go for this arrow thing. Avoid the mines, not get killed. Oh, there's like a maelstrom here. I read about this. And then you end up somewhere. Oh, thanks for the follow, Isvara. Appreciate it. Oh, damage. I'm at 73. Oh, okay, now let me try to... Whoa. Almost dead here. Oh yeah, that's what they were saying. If your damage is too high, you can't use your thrusters. Okay, now I can use my thrusters again. Oh, and an Nitron. I don't know. This game is weird. It's cool looking. I mean, technologically, it's very cool, right? But gameplay-wise, it's a little bit strange. Docking mode. That's it. That's what I need to do. Why can't I dock? Oh, this why? Oh, and I just got shot. Okay, last shot. Let's see if we can get into that docked thing. I'll figure it out at some point. Alright, so brightness is working. That was nice and easy. Simple as that, eh? Hook up brightness, line brightness. Everything was in place, but for some reason I wasn't initializing or passing in the brightness value and screen when adding lines to the render context. The only thing I'm wondering about is whether I should be writing the normalized values as I am, or whether I should be putting brightness values as values from... No, I think it's alright. I think it makes sense to consider brightness values from 0 to 1. It should be okay. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna push this, and guys, I'm gonna call it a night. So I'm gonna try to think a little bit more about what I want to do for the line drawing stuff, and hopefully get started on that on Wednesday. If I don't have time to think about it, then I'll find something else. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and if everything is normal and nothing weird comes up, I should be back on in just 2 nights from now on Wednesday night. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks Isvara. Good night to you. And yeah, see you next time.